I'm going to show you about 30 pictures over the course of 30 seconds, and remember as many as you can. Now, usually when I show that to people, they say they remembered the Statue of Liberty. There's a reason for that. Every fifth picture was the Statue of Liberty. A little bit different, but it was always the Statue of Liberty. We remember what gets repeated. Now, other people will say they remembered the gun or the woman in the bikini. Those are examples of things that might startle us or surprise us, come from out of nowhere. And that's another way things get remembered. They either get remembered through repetition, or it's something so startling, jarring, unexpected that it burns into your memory. Major news events would be a great example of something that would be jarring and get stuck in your memory. But when we're advertising, we don't have the luxury of always doing something that's jarring. So repetition is going to be your friend. And what matters is what's remembered. When you advertise, you typically make bullet points of what you want customers to know. I want people to know I do this, and I'm great at that. I offer these things, and I offer those things, and I'm also on Facebook. This falls under the folly of trying to educate the customer, something advertising simply cannot do. Giving a customer an education so he'll have no choice but to pick you is as fanciful as it is arrogant. What matters is what's remembered. More specifically, what matters is what becomes associated with your company. Building associations takes time and repetition, built on a foundation of something that the customer wants. Dr. Edwin B. Twittmeyer, a Pennsylvania psychology professor, demonstrated this in 1902 with his extensive work in conditioned responses. But you've never heard of Dr. Twittmeyer, and you don't associate his name with conditioned responses. Instead, you know the name Dr. Ivan P. Pavlov, who discovered virtually the same thing a year later. Think about this. Pavlov and conditioned response have been associated so many times, you've been conditioned to think of Pavlov whenever anybody talks about conditioned responses. Meanwhile, poor Dr. Twittmeyer has been mostly forgotten. Like your business, both professors did many things and studied a range of topics, but only one is forever connected to the study of conditioned responses. You can see this play out in advertising with Farmers Insurance, Liberty Mutual, Progressive, Geico, and Allstate. 5 insurance companies, all selling essentially the same thing, but each has decided they want you to associate something specific with their customers. Geico is for price-sensitive shoppers.
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on Wednesday.
No matter what you're paying now, give them 15 minutes and they can save you 15%.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Progressive played the low price game by telling you to name your own price. But the laws of marketing say only one company can hold the low price position, so now Progressive says you can save even more when you bundle your insurance.
Hi, you just moved in, right? I would love to tell you about all the great savings you can get for bundling your renters and car insurance with Progressive.
Oh, I was just...
Oh, Tammy, I found your retainer in the dryer.
The more you buy from them, you spend less somehow. Liberty Mutual, also for price shoppers, is suggesting that others are selling you too much insurance, so you should only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need with Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need with Liberty Mutual. Con Liberty Mutual solo pagas lo que necesitas.
Meanwhile, Farmers Insurance wants you to remember with them, everything is covered, even the most fantastic calamities. After almost 100 years at it, they know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two. Lastly, Allstate's highly successful Mayhem campaign is also about being fully covered.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things. You're good.
Not only is Mayhem out to cause you physical trouble, but you could get a double dose of Mayhem when you find out your discount insurance doesn't cover you.
And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself.
What's key is that each company is selling the same thing. There's no differentiation in the product and very little differentiation in the companies. But there is distinction. You can tell one from the other. Here's how it works. First, your company needs to look like your company. Words, sounds, styles, mascots, spokespeople, fonts, feelings, attitudes. Be obsessive about this. It needs to absolutely encompass your advertising, and I should know that it's you when I see your ad. Next, your company needs to be associated with something that a customer is looking for. Only Pay for What You Need has an appeal to a specific kind of customer. That was consciously chosen only after considering what the other companies were saying and identifying a customer problem that Liberty Mutual could solve. Lastly, this needs to be a campaign. Remember the example with the Statue of Liberty. You saw it consistently, but it was always a little bit different. Consistent and interesting ways to say one useful thing is the only way you can create an association. Dr. Twitmeyer says so. You have to have a series of ads that are all connected to each other. They have to orbit a single idea, and the customer has to connect your company to that single idea. Association, repetition, time. Because in the end, the only thing that matters is what's remembered. So what do you think? How do you apply this to your company? I'd like to hear your questions and your thoughts in the comments below. You can subscribe right here on YouTube or go over to wherever it is you get podcasts and subscribe to Marketing Musings there. You can get the newsletter sent to you in his email. I'm always trying to make sure that I find a way to get to you. I'm really easy to find. Back in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, keep musing about marketing. That's what I'm doing.